If we are taught that feelings rather than the intellect are to dominate the minds and hearts of people, and that we must follow our passion, if we as a culture believe that there is no defined order and that there is no higher purpose, understood through reason and the intellect other than to be happy, then the consequence is that the culture inevitably begins to pursue pleasure through self-gratification. It is not long, perhaps 2 to 3 generations, before that culture eventually embraces the secular belief that there is no God, and that there is no benefit gained from sacrificing for others, and from following a virtuous path. Mr. Horvat.
Secular society is something that promises happiness, but in the final analysis, it takes away a whole part of the human soul. I mean, one of the things I quote in the book, Return to Order, is the Barry Goldwater, who said that we are spiritual creatures with spiritual desires and spiritual needs. And this is one of the things that divides one outlook of society to another outlook of society. St. Thomas, he defines this very well by speaking about something called acedia. Acedia is a wariness of spiritual things, whereby a person loses the appetite for those things which are spiritual, and thereby loses an appetite for what he actually is, the person actually is. And as a result, St. Thomas says it leads to sadness, a certain despondency, a certain inability to deal with the reality of life, and it's the loss of that appetite for spiritual things, which is so essential to our nature and the way we are.
As we observe the culture around us, the consumerism, materialism, the frenetic pursuit of extreme experiences, whether it be in sports, leisure, and in work, it is not difficult to witness that numerous are those who have abandoned the faith in which they were brought up in. Many have lost their children to the cultural allures, the noise, and the bright lights. The acedia that has crept into our society, our culture, and into the mind of the individual has left generations spiritually impoverished. Many have, indeed, lost the desire to cultivate the spiritual life, to explore the deeper meaning of life.
I think one of the ways people avoid or to take care of the problem of not feeling their spiritual needs is through a certain busyness and frenetic pace of life. You know, they just simply want to stay so busy they don't have to think about these matters. You know, there are people who, for example, can't stand to be silent in a place. They'll put on a radio, they'll put on a television, anything just to keep from being alone with themselves, thinking about, you know, these very important questions. That, you know, it almost seems that the more prosperity, the more material wealth you have, the unhappier the country is. It comes from the fact that we don't address these issues. It just the materialism of our life is not satisfying. It's simply not delivering the results that it should deliver. One of the interesting one of the reasons why this happens is that because our spiritual desires are unlimited. When we desire beauty, for example, we desire beauty for the sake of beauty, and beauty can be is unlimited because once you see one beautiful thing, you can imagine another one. And we have these spiritual desires, and we apply them to the limited material thing. So that we say, I have this desire for beauty, and I see a car, and I say, well, that's going to satisfy that desire. It doesn't. It frustrates it. And so the materialism of life tends to frustrate because we're applying unlimited spiritual desires to limited physical things.